Here we are. It's going to get hot and heavy tonight. I just have this feeling in my gut.
We're back in black, baby.
We're back after quite a long hiatus.
It's been a summer break.
This is Woodworking is Bullshit, your favorite podcast about creativity, art, design, philosophy, the mental side of what we do, not necessarily how we do. I'm your host, Paul Jasper, Copper Pig Woodworking, scientist by day, woodworker by night, and I have my boy, Eric Curtis, in the chair. Fine furniture maker and content creator.
What
Eric
is poppin', Playboy?
Eric, we haven't recorded an episode for real in like a month and a half.
Oh, it's been, I think it's been over
months?
2 months. Yeah.
And it feels rusty, if I'm being honest.
I think you just said Copper Pig by day, woodworker by night, I think.
Did I?
So
No, I think did I? Shit, I don't know. I'll have to listen to it back. Yeah, it's a little rusty, kids. We've been doing summer shit for 2 months. We knew this was coming. So.
I haven't made any form of content in almost 3 months now. So I'm rusty as fuck. I don't remember where I swear on the internet and where I don't. So it's going to be wild.
I was just on a podcast where it was pretty clear I wasn't supposed to swear. And it was so hard not to swear.
Oh, guys, I am so grateful that this is a safe space for my just inane, terrible potty mouth to exist on the internet.
It's hard to not swear when you talk for 2.5 hours.
Yeah. It's also just hard for me not to swear at any point in life. It's hard.
Fuck that, right? All right. Well, tonight, yes, it is night. Tonight
Are
we
you
have.
Good, bro?
Sorry, dude. I'm stone cold sober. I'm not drinking because I just got drunk 2 nights ago and I was sick for a day.
So did I, but I'm rallying for the troops, man.
No, I'm drinking.
Don't be
water.
a little bitch, buddy.
No. I'm going to see you in a few days and we're going to drink then.
I know.
All right, so I'm rolling sober, and tonight's episode is an episode of Barstool Confessions, where Eric and I get real with each other. The Barstool Confessions series is about authenticity between two friends, as if we're back at the bar. And to be honest, the last few times we recorded Barstool Confessions, I sort of forgot we were recording a podcast, which is kind of nice. And today's episode, I had a whole new concept. Today's called 10 Truths. And Eric and I have each come with 5 statements or questions or who knows what. I don't know what he's bringing. He doesn't know what I'm bringing to the table. But 10 truths in some way. And we're going to pop it on the other person and see how they react and see where it goes. Because these are things we've been thinking about a lot lately, cogitating. You know how you get a thought kind of stuck in your head, or you might have heard it somewhere or someone said it to you. And the more you think about it, the more it affected you personally. And you just kept thinking about it over and over. And maybe it became part of your personal philosophical ethos. Maybe it really hit you so deeply that you'll think about that forever. And maybe it's here today and gone tomorrow. But anyway, I came with 5 of my favorites. And Eric, I'm assuming you came with 5 of your favorites, and we're going to go through them.
I sure did. It's going to be interesting. They're not necessarily related to woodworking in any way, shape, or form. They're just life statements.
Mine are life statements, but I think they do have parallels or applications in woodworking. How about yours?
Okay. I agree. 2 of mine are very much directly related to my own work. So they are woodworking statements. The other 3 are, I think, definitely you can draw philosophical meaning or parallels to the craft that we love that inhabits so much of our lives. So yeah.
All right. You ready, bad boy?
Let's fucking do this, cowboy.
All right.
Are you breaking the seal or am I?
I'm going to go first.
Oh boy. Okay.
You ready?
Hit me.
Inspiration is perishable.
Oh, so this is an agree-disagree statement. Inspiration is perishable. Yes. Hard yes. Agreed 1000%. Is it like, am I just
That's it.
agreeing, disagreeing, and then
No, no. I
you're
mean,
defending, responding?
no, no. We don't necessarily have to be on the opposite sides of the coin. But it was Naval Ravikant. I heard say this on a podcast recently. He said, "Inspiration is perishable. You really have to act on it when it hits if you're going to extract the most out of it." And the more I thought about that, I reflected on times where I had this really great idea
Hmm.
and I didn't act on it because, oh, I'm too busy. I'll get to it eventually. And over time, that hot,
Mm-hmm.
exciting thought
Mm-hmm.
slowly cooled off and disappeared. And
Did you ever come back around to executing that idea, or exploring it or playing with it, or did it just fade into the ether?
once or twice it came back around, but
Yeah.
more often than not, it disappears, and the enthusiasm disappears with it. And I thought, wow, that's a profound. Like, I never really thought of inspiration like that. That inspiration has a timeline to it, or a time dependence to it. And when we always like to say the best work is inspired work, right? We like to say that in the field.
Yeah, I don't always agree with it, but we do say that.
But I think there's truth there because when you're inspired, you put the most into it. Like, you're
Mm.
so excited, you're so jazzed to get that message out to see, and it fades over time. Anyway, now that and I think about it all the time. So when I feel that tickle of inspiration in the back of my head about something, I do try to at least take a step to get it started rather than like let it die.
The tickle of inspiration is one of my favorite OnlyFans channels, but that's neither here nor there. um, so the question of whether it is perishable or not, I think for me largely depends on if the inspiration is in the form of a question or exploration, or if the inspiration is a complete idea.
Hmm.
And so, like, if I see it in my head, like if it hits me one day, and I've got a couple of these floating around in my brain at the moment, I know that that thing can live unadulterated in the back of my mind for a long period of time until I clear room in my schedule to do it. And sometimes that might be a couple of months, sometimes that might be a couple of years. Um, but if it like comes kind of fully formed, then I have no problem letting it germinate and maybe even evolve into something that I haven't quite seen yet as it's
I
sitting back
see.
there. Whereas if it's a question, like if it's excitement, inspiration, if it's a question of like, is this
Mm.
possible? What happens if I
Hmm.
don't act on that soon? Then that interest fades away. So
That's
I
a
think
really
that,
good distinction.
yeah,
I
that
like that.
perishability is like inspiration versus excitement, though maybe that's not exactly the right way to phrase it. You know what I'm trying
No,
to
but
hit on?
I think you're right though. It's like if you have an inspire like a moment of excitement, of inspiration about a new idea, that's perishable. But more sober, kind of like long-term developmental
Mm.
inspired ideas, they take time to develop and blossom, and it may take months to
Mm-hmm.
really flesh it out. So you've
Mm-hmm.
kind of distinguished inspiration into two axes, like that kind of like a hot, excited momentary
Mm-hmm.
jazz thing, and then the
Mm-hmm.
more sober, more wisdom experienced, slowly unfurling
Well,
kind
and
of.
I think that it is experience. I think that's a fair way to categorize it, because there are times where you just see the thing, or I mean, does this happen to you where like the idea, the form, the visual happens in your brain and you see it and you go, oh, okay, like I already know that's a good piece. I don't even have to explore it. The idea is now there and it can just sit. And when I get around, when I create the space to make it, I know it's still going to be a good piece in six
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
Whereas, again, the thing of like, ooh, this is a really sexy piece of wood, or oh, it would be really interesting if I tried to do this and I don't know if it'll happen.
Hmm.
That can fade away rather quickly, that level of excitement or intrigue.
Hmm. Well, again, I would say the more experimental, the crazier the idea, the more it has a
Mm,
tendency to fade.
yeah.
Whereas the more established, well thought out ideas have more staying power because I know
Does
they're good
that
ideas.
does that happen to you though? Like, does a fully formed like visual idea pop into your head from time to time and you just go like, "Oh, okay. I know that's going to be a good piece."
Hmm.
Like how does that inspiration manifest for you on that end of the spectrum?
No, whole ideas don't come to me usually.
No.
Just little snippets of idea.
Hmm.
Well, I don't know. Actually, maybe.
Well, so
I don't know. It's hard to say. I
is it
gotta.
always necessary for you? Like, is it imperative that you act on inspiration when it's there then?
Well, I is it imperative? I've noticed things fade. I don't know. All I can tell you is since I heard Naval say that,
Hmm.
I've realized that that's true for me, and that
Hmm.
I've been acting on inspiration when it's hot, when it's there, a lot more recently
Yeah.
because of that statement. And I'm so bummed to have like inspiration's a gift. To
Yeah.
feel inspired, I think, is one of life's
Mm.
better moments,
Hmm.
right? Like life can be so boring and so mundane and so you know, regimented and the same thing every day, that to feel that inspiration to me is like a gift. And so I don't want to squander those moments because they're kind of few and far between.
How do you how do you square that with having commissions to fulfill?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been taking less and less commissions.
Yeah, I know. You son of a bitch.
That's how I've been squaring it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
basically don't take commissions to allow myself the freedom to explore what kind of excites me in the moment.
Yeah.
How about you?
That's the benefit of the job, baby.
Yeah.
Um, well, currently, I'm in one of those moments of inspiration, and I just said, "Fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway because I have to." Like it, there are times where you just recognize I should speak from the first person. This is why I've spent years in therapy to not have my experience exist in the second person or the third person. All right,
Hmm.
so I am in one of those moments, and I need to get those things out of my system. This is why I am a woodworker in no small reason is because in those, well, this kind of comes into my first truth. So let's let's
Yeah, let's
let's focus it into the second truth.
sure.
Um,
Number 2.
Number two, my best work often, though not always, comes from the most difficult experiences of my life.
Oh. Oh god, really?
And so,
Oh.
not always. Now, I want to be careful because I don't want to perpetuate the
Wow.
stereotype of the tortured artist, right?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
don't think that's helpful or useful. I think it's dated. However, part of the reason I do what I do is because in moments of turbulence, woodworking is a vehicle to expel some of those things and
Mm.
a created meditative space to reflect on some of those things and work through them. Do you
Wow.
find that true for yourself?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
Interesting.
When I'm hurting or in a tough place or in turmoil, the last thing I feel like doing is woodworking.
Hmm. What do you do instead?
I I I would I think I listen to philosophy. I try to think of different ways like why is this bothering me? Should it be bothering me? What does it say about me that it is bothering me?
Hmm.
What if I didn't care? Why do I care? I'm going to die in the next 30 to 35 years and no one's going to care that I'm dead. Like what does this matter? It's not that serious. I like to look at pictures of the earth floating in the Milky Way or the earth in outer space and think about the solar system and think about just nothing's that serious, Paul.
Hmm.
Like really? But yet I'm a human and I have human emotions and I can't deny that. But I just try to flesh it out. Like I try to drill down using whatever means I can, whether it's visual or other people or philosophical or thinking about therapy type questions, to try and drill down to the essence of what's bothering me and try to unearth the fossil that is,
So,
and woodworking. I don't know, like I enjoy woodworking when I'm happy, like I'm in a good mood, and I just, everything's free and clear, like everything's buttoned up, like my job's good and my family's
sure.
good. Hey, let's make something.
It's a happy
And
space. It's a safe space.
It's
Yeah.
a happy space, and
Yeah.
my best work has nothing to do with like when I'm in dark times.
So do you think your best work, so flip it then, do you think your best work exclusively comes from when your life is like
Yes.
streamlined, everything is
Yeah.
great, everything is
Yeah.
one, and you are free and clear to think about woodworking?
Yes, because when everything's buttoned up, like I view life as a multidisciplinary optimization problem. Okay, like
Fucking nerd.
No, shut up. Think about you're flying a plane. Okay,
Yeah.
like you and I have never flown a plane, but you know what the cockpit looks like, right?
Yep.
Okay, and there's all these dials and gauges and gauges and dials and gizmos and gadgets, and I think about that's like a metaphor for my life. There's all these dials, like going from like terrible to like great, and it's like, how you doing as a dad? Terrible to great. How's your job? Terrible to great. How's your health? How's your marriage? How's your daily life happiness? How's your creativity? How do you look physically? How good a friend are you to others? And there's and how good a family member are you? And like all these dials, right? Going from I'm doing horrible to like I'm doing amazing. I'm a total rock star. But they're all interrelated because you only have so much time and attention in a day and so much emotional energy. So it's like a multi-dimensional optimization problem where you're trying to optimize the most gauges to be in the happy green zone at the same time.
But they can't all be there at the same time,
But
right?
anytime you put too much into one gauge, the others start dropping, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I see my life, and I'm always trying to optimize everything to all be in the green zone at the same time, as best I can. And when everything is buttoned up and looking good and like everyone's taken care of, like my daughter, I spent time with my daughter and she's happy and she's doing well in school and I'm being a good dad and the house is clean and my wife and I have spent time together, and then I feel like, let's go make something awesome, right? Because it's like everything's great. Let's put this time into something even more joyful, which is making. So I think my best work comes when everything's dialed in.
Interesting.
Now
I don't disagree. I think I can produce really good work when everything is dialed in. But what I find is in those moments where things are chaotic, like you seek information, you look at the universe as a landscape and figure out how small we are and how meaninglessness is overwhelming, in that kind of puts it into perspective. Which is like I do similar things, but what I know about myself is as I'm working through those things, my body needs something to do because that is when my mind works best and clearest. And so I think that's why it becomes a cathartic effort, is like, this is a thing that I know that I can do really well. And so if my body is doing that, it creates the space for my mind to work through things.
I think a lot of people will relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same reason why, like, when I'm thinking about things and I'm not in the shop, I'm wandering around the streets of Philly. Like, I'm just walking because my body needs to expel that anxious energy, and it needs to be able to free my mind up to actually think properly rather than just be overwhelmed by everything.
Well, you were the kid who couldn't sit still, and I was the kid who sat still forever, right?
So what, like, does your body need to do things when you're thinking about those things?
No.
You just sit and think.
Yep.
That is so fucking foreign to me.
No, dude, that's why I was well suited to be a scientist.
Yeah,
because being a scientist and the whole grad school and PhD thing is hours upon hours upon hours of focused mental attention doing nothing physically. You're reading for like 4-6 hours, studying without a break, not without getting up. And for some reason, I'm okay with that.
That is actually, like, if somebody wanted to develop the most specific torture chamber for me, it is, here's this like grand universal truth that you have to wrestle with and you cannot fucking move.
It's got to be genetic. My daughter
It
does it
has to
too.
be,
I
really.
see her study. She sits down at that table. She doesn't get up for 3 hours. Doesn't even look up. I'm like, dude,
Again,
you.
that could not be the like further to the opposite side of my human
No,
experience.
I really do think there's genetic underpinnings to some of
Yeah.
these tendencies
Yeah.
we have. Okay. Next one.
Hit me.
Are you ready? Oh, Eric.
Oh boy.
Okay, here goes. There are no problems, only situations and the labels we put on them.
There are no problems, only situations and the labels we put on them. All right. So I have two initial reactions. The first is I don't think I disagree with that, like on a daily basis, right? Like there are good days, there are bad days, there are things that annoy you, and you have to kind of take a look at yourself and your life and what's happening in the day and ask why these things are annoying you. And then you realize they're not actually a problem. It's just like, this is just life. Like life is inconvenient sometimes, and you can accept that and move on and be more gracious to the people around you. However, I would also say that you and I have experienced in our lives as individuals actual real problems that have been really difficult to they took many years to come to peace with and eventually overcome. And I think it's difficult, almost borderline offensive, to say that those are not problems, just labels.
I mean, they were occurrences, let's say.
Sure. They were events.
They were events and situations in which something happened that didn't square with our expectation, or our hope, or our view, or our system of beliefs, or our value judgment. And so someone cuts you off. Let's say you're driving. Someone cuts you off. I know a lot of people who are like, "Oh, motherfucker!" Like I'm having a conversation with someone in the car, let's say, and we're side by side, and we're talking about something really awesome, and someone cuts them off and they're like, "Oh, motherfucker! This bastard! Look at this bastard!" And like it interrupts the conversation.
Yep.
It tells you as the participant in the conversation that what you're saying is not that important, and that they're making a problem where there didn't have to be. That's like a small example.
Sure.
Like someone cutting you off is a situation.
Sure.
You could just call you don't have to put a label on it as good or bad. It just is. Someone pulled in front of me with a little space between the cars. You could argue it was a dangerous or it's not dangerous. But to call it like this is an example, and to call it a problem and to interrupt our conversation and to break the flow and to lose the good juju we had talking about something all because someone like that's just dumb. Like, why are we doing that? That is just a poor use of time. That is not how you want to be spending your life. And so like that's a little version. So it's like, let's extrapolate out. You break your arm. Is that a problem? Well, it's a situation, that's for sure. It's inconvenient because you had plans. Sure. So it's almost all about like what your preconceived ideas were and whether life, satisfied them. And if it doesn't, it's a problem, right? I think I have a feeling a lot of people are going to disagree with me.
But I do disagree with you. Like the example that you used is a perfect example, right? Like, and I'll give you another example. Today, there's this little spot in my neighborhood called Little Susie's Pies, and they make like little ham pies, make a little sausage, egg, and cheese, a little like apple pie, a little coffee joint, delightful place, delicious stuff. And I went there, and they make this like apple little pie that's fucking delicious. Okay. And I went there like, lunchtime is maybe like 12:30.
Yeah.
And just to be a nice guy, this guy walked up at the same time I walked up, and I said, "No, please, you go first. Go ahead."
Yeah.
And he got an apple pie, and it was the last motherfucking apple pie. Okay. And that's why I had gone to Little Susie's that day.
Yeah, but is that a
And
problem?
well, that's the thing. That's not a problem. It's an inconvenience at best,
It's an
right?
opportunity to
To go
try
get a
something
different thing,
else.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And I did, and it was delightful. Not a problem, an inconvenience. Let me paint a different example, and this is where I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
Somebody in my, like, close to my life, I just found out that they are currently having an affair, ending their marriage, and basically stealing money from their 11-year-old son's college fund. That doesn't matter how you fucking label it. What that person just did is fuck over not only their family, but
Yeah.
their son specifically, their only
Yeah.
child,
Yeah.
steal money from them and run away with some lady who has 5 kids and lives in a trailer. And fun fact, only has 1 leg. But that's just a sidebar because I'm judging both of them right now.
Okay.
So the
Eric,
like
you got
that's
some weird ass
that's
friends.
but that's it. Doesn't matter how you label it, how zen you get about life. That's not a problem. And that particular
Yeah.
child, unfortunately, is going to have years, if not decades, of anger to work through toward his father for this situation.
Okay,
And I
so
know because it's not that dissimilar from what my father did to my family. So I
Excellent.
very much empathize with this
Excellent.
situation.
So you're basically arguing that there's an intensity to the situation, at which point, like, it passes a certain intensity, at which point you can't zen your way out of it. It represents a serious problem.
And I think when people try to, in what I don't think this is necessarily always people trying to, like, look at a zen situation for somebody else. I think people do this to themselves oftentimes. They try to convince themselves like everything is fine instead of actually contending with the issues at hand. Because
Yeah.
they don't want to label it a problem, because it's hard. Like, once you label a thing a problem, like, you're ethically responsible for contending with the thing.
Well, Eric, I think it's the opposite. I think everyone calls everything a problem. And
Well, there's also that. Yeah.
99% of them are not fucking problems.
I agree with that.
It's the weak sauce you're pouring on your whole fucking life.
Sure.
Being like, oh, this is a problem. They didn't have
everybody's
the
a victim. Yeah.
They didn't have this person cut me off. Oh, I have to stop and get gas. It's like, these are not problems.
Yeah.
Like, cut off your leg and start bleeding to death. Like, that's a problem. Or like have a family member undermine the institution of the family such that the child will require years of therapy. Okay, I give you that. That's a pretty intense situation.
That's a problem, man.
Yeah,
and
I just hear everyone bitching all the time, to the point that I don't want to be around negative people anymore. I want to be around optimists, positive thinking people. When there's a slight inconvenience, don't call it a problem. Think about it like it just is, or think about it as an opportunity to extend your comfort zone.
To that extent, I agree with you wholeheartedly. This is for a similar reason. I refuse to give myself a label, regardless of what happens. Give myself the label of a victim. Like, I hate the idea of qualifying myself as a victim, even if I am, like, somebody took advantage of me in whatever situation. Because I think, for me personally, I have seen too many people put themselves in that headspace and be incapable of getting out of it, even when it's not actually a problem. It's just an inconvenience. So to that extent, I agree.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. Number 4. All right. This one is, again, directly related to woodworking.
Okay.
The quality of output and the quantity of output oscillate in the hierarchy of importance.
Whoa. Huh. Wait, the quality of the output and the quantity of the output oscillate? Say it again.
Oscillate in their hierarchy of importance.
So they jockey back and forth. The quantity and quality, they fight for what's most important through your career.
Sometimes putting out numbers is the most important thing for you in that headspace, for me in that headspace.
Oh,
But
wow.
sometimes you also have to slow down and recognize that the quality of the work you need to put out in a given moment trumps the deadline.
Wow. I've never thought of that before.
I just thought about it before this call, so.
Eric, that's a good one. Is that to make you feel better? Does yourself feel better for not putting out any content? Is that because you've been a deadbeat?
Took all summer just being a fucking deadbeat.
Is that because you've been a deadbeat for 3 months and you want to make yourself feel better?
Yeah, the quality of output and the quantity of output have both hit 0 over the summer. So
Eric says, Confucius says, when deadbeat, quantity nor quality important, but
neither.
But time with friends. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good, buddy. The one thought that did hit me when you talked about the changing role of whether it's quantity or quality is most important. Well, the thought that came to me is when sometimes you need to be in a production mindset to make money, let's say, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're in a production mindset, a lot of quality ideas come to mind. Mm-hmm. How can I optimize this? How can I make this process better to get a better quality product? So they're really linked. Like in a production, you know.
I agree with you 100%.
Right? Because when you're doing the quantity, the quality thoughts come with it. And when you're obsessing over quality, and sometimes I just feel frustrated. Like I just want to bang some shit out because like I love this piece so much. I would love to make 10 of them so 10 people could enjoy it. Or I could make 10 times the money. Or they're intimately linked, I think, is my takeaway.
I agree with you. And my default mode is quantity over quality. But that's only because I trust the quality of my work. That's only because for years it was the opposite. And so I know that I at least hit a floor of quality that I'm comfortable with. Yeah. And so putting out higher numbers generally then produces whatever dopamine effects and frees my brain up to do other things. And then I can come up with quality ideas, to your point. But there are times where, again, like now, when you hit those moments of inspiration, that I have to stop worrying about a deadline, stop worrying about how many videos I'm going to put out. And I just need to block off a period of time and make the thing, and like truly sit with the thing and pay attention to it and figure out what it wants to be and what I need it to be. And that is invariably a fucking glacial process. Like you can't, it just takes so fucking long. And again, I think that's where most of the best work I've ever created comes from, in those moments of just unfiltered focus, like hyperfixation, and the speed at which I work goes out the window so that I can produce something that's maybe it's new for me, maybe it's something that needs to just get out of the system, but whatever it is, like that's where the quality overtakes the quantity.
Great. That was a good one. I like that one. I'm going to be thinking about the relationship between quantity and quality in the shop from that one. That's good.
Okay.
All right. You ready for number, that was number 4?
That was number 4. 5? Hit it, Playboy.
All right, Eric. A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds.
A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds?
So it's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson from his essay, Self-Reliance. And it means that rigid, unthinking adherence to like past beliefs or way of doing things stifles personal growth, creativity, and truth-seeking.
Hit me with it one more time.
A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. Are there little things you do and you're unwavering in doing them, yet you're not exactly sure why you do them? You don't have a real strong ethos behind it, but it just makes you feel good to do it. Like, I think that's kind of like,
The whiskey in my hand right now feels pretty
no,
good.
no, because that has a known effect. It makes you
Sure,
feel fucking great. That's
sure.
like borne out. But like, I got thinking about this, a foolish consistency. Like, do I do things that are not backed up by either science or
Like what?
out?
Give me an example.
Well, um, are there any ritualistic behaviors? I
Hmm.
don't have because I don't do that. Well, I don't know. Maybe I do. I don't know. Are there any ritualistic behaviors you have with woodworking or your life or in the shop that aren't really borne out by any data to say that that's the best way to do it? I this immediately made me think of woodworking. Okay,
Hmm.
and that's why I brought this up, because we're told so often you can't do it that way. You got to do it this way. No, you can't do that. You got to do this. Oh, you can't have that tool. That tool sucks. You got to have this. Like, how many lies did you have to cut through when you were learning woodworking that turned out not to be true once you actually tried it? And how many things have you heard that you just did? You're like, all right. They said it was this, and I'll just do that.
There's lots of them, right? Um, I wonder at what point do those habits, like developing habits and doing them because you think it's the best way, is one thing. And I think that's the hobgoblin of the little mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas that's such a good fucking, like, I can see the t-shirt in that.
Mm-hmm.
um, but doing a thing because you were taught to do it that way, and then over time you find comfort in doing it that way, and it brings you joy in doing it that way, and you know there are other ways to do it, and sometimes you employ those ways because it's the faster way or because it's the more accurate way. But
Mm-hmm.
you still, like for me, for example, it's cutting dados with a trim router and squaring them up with a chisel. There's just something like using a piece of double stick tape and a ruler, like just because it's square enough, like those things that aren't the most accurate or the most efficient way to do it, but there's still a sense of joy in doing it that way that it brings me. Like that, I think has value. I don't
Because it
think
makes you
that's,
happy.
yeah, there's a, yeah, I mean, full
So,
stop, right?
so, so that rigid, unthinking adherence to past beliefs or ways of doing things stifles personal growth, creativity, and truth seeking. Like, when you engage in those ways you do things that I've always done it that way, so I do it that way. Like, does that actually hurt you from being more open minded to trying other new ways that may be even better?
Well,
That's the question.
I think unthinking is the critical term there, right? Because if you do it unquestioningly, it just becomes a dogmatic belief. Then it
Correct.
probably does stop you from trying new things. But if
Mhm.
you like, if you are open to trying new things and you go, I like that's information that's good to know, and I can employ that under certain circumstances when I need to. But this
Mhm.
other way that I've been doing it for 10 years, there's just something about that way that keeps drawing me back because it is a joyful process.
That's not
That's
unthinking
not
adherence.
unthinking, right?
Okay, like for example, when you cut dovetails, you
Mm.
go tails first or pins first?
I go tails first.
I go tails first. I
Yeah,
went to the North Bennett Street School for some
yeah,
classes way back when. They're like pins first, unrelenting pins
yeah,
first,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and they're like, "Here's why." And I was
yeah,
like, "Yeah, really?" Because
yeah.
okay, now I could have just listened to them and
Sure.
done that for the rest of my career, but I was like, I'm not really buying their argument.
Yeah.
I'm not really convinced.
Well, there isn't an argument, right? Like
Well,
it's.
they no, they said there was. They were like
Oh, I'm
mother.
sure.
They were like motherfuckers. This is how you. No, they weren't like that. They were super nice, but no, they were amazing. North Bennett Street School. I'm not shitting on it. Absolutely take classes there. It's world class, and I wouldn't regret a thing. It was transformative for me. But in terms of like that dogmatic, we do pins first here, and here's why.
Yeah,
I tried tails first, and it was way better.
yeah,
And I can tell you why it was way better for me. And I went back to one of the instructors many, many years later, and I was like, tell me why you guys are pins first again. And
yeah.
again, I didn't buy it. So it's like, that's an example of where I could have drank the Kool-Aid.
Sure.
But I
Well,
tried it a different way. I didn't have this like, unwavering adherence. And I found that it's way better. And same with a push saw versus a
I was
Japanese pull
literally
saw.
just thinking that. Yep. Like and there are people on both sides of the argument, for and
Yeah, but
against.
how many of those people, Eric, have tried both extensively?
Well, and that's the thing. How many of those people have come to that conclusion out of experience of both versus they
Right.
picked one up and it felt more comfortable for them? And that's great. So they started using it and then they decided that is the universal truth.
Foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, everyone. So if you're doing shit that you don't have a good reason to do it that way, might pick a bone with Ralph Waldo Emerson on that
The
one.
hobgoblin of a little mind is going to be the title of my autobiography.
We just insulted everyone, including ourselves. Well done.
All right. That was number 5, yeah?
Yep. That was halfway.
Before we jump into number 6, let's take a quick little ad break real quick to thank our Lord and Savior, Billiam T. Burkle, who is, of course, the owner, operator, and business person behind WTB Woodworking
Lord and Savior
in Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania. A couple of things coming up just so you guys know about what's going on there. On September 18th, there's going to be a live event featuring Festool from 9 to 1. And on September 19th, so in just a couple of weeks from now, I will be there, and I believe KJ is also going to be there for the Shaper event from 10 to 2 on September 19th. So come hang out, say hello, do the things. This is one of those rare times where we will actually, we're talking about the ad read. This episode's going to come out tomorrow, and now you guys have up-to-date information on where me and KJ will be on September 19th. So come hang. And then on October 25th, from 9 to 3 is the 1-year anniversary. So there'll be free food and fun and giveaways and sales and all the things. So go check out our boy, Bill Burkle, WTB Woodworking, WTBwoodworking.com.
Awesome.
All right.
Up. Number 6.
Rock and roll. Number 6. Okay. So I thought about how to phrase, this is a question. I thought about how to phrase this question a couple of different ways. And I'm just going to hit you with this.
Okay.
Do you think it is possible that Sisyphus ever found meaning in his work?
You're going to have to educate me on who the fuck
the myth of Sisyphus. All right.
I don't know.
The myth of the myth of Sisyphus.
I don't know if I do.
So Sisyphus was a Greek mythological figure who cheated death, and as his curse, he cheated death multiple times. As his curse from Zeus, he was forced to push a boulder up a hill for all of eternity. And as he gets toward the top of the hill, just at the end of the ordeal, the boulder rolls all the way back down to the beginning of the hill, and the cycle starts anew.
Oh my God!
So that's his curse for the entirety of human existence.
Okay.
And so the question is, in that the Sisyphean task kind of represents the meaninglessness of doing anything. And we talked about this a little bit earlier in the episode, that kind of that drudgery, the task of repetition, and some things that you just have to do that don't have any inherent meaning. So is it possible in those Sisyphean tasks to find meaning in the doing of the task itself? Let me ask it a different way.
There's a big difference here, though. In his case, he might be doing the task, but it never ever reaches a resolution, and he has to start over. Mm-hmm. That's not us. We have endpoints, thankfully, and we reset in a different way, or a new way, or an exciting new. It's like you have to make the same project for the rest of your life, but never complete it.
yeah, that's part of the thing, right? It's all wretch and no vomit. Let's put it in the context of life outside of woodworking.
Go ahead. Yeah.
You get out of bed every morning.
Yeah.
You go into the bathroom, you take a leak, you brush your teeth, you fix your face up, you go downstairs, you make your coffee, you drink your coffee, you look at your phone for a little bit. Maybe 15 years ago, you looked at the paper for a little bit. You've got like this period of like somewhere between 30 minutes and 2 hours every morning, where it's the same thing every morning. And some people go to a job that they don't like because they have bills to pay. and they go to the same desk every day and they sit down and they do the same meaningless task, which feels meaningless.
Gee whiz.
And they do this thing that is, it feels like it is on this cycle of repeat over and
It
over
is. Yes.
and over, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
and we all have that in our lives. Like we
Mhm.
all have those things. You get up and you commute to the same job every day for 40 years or whatever it is. Like you're raising kids, and sure, there's an end point because your kids will eventually theoretically leave the house. But when you're in it, when your kids are 5 and every morning you wrangle them to just shut the fuck up and eat an apple for 5 minutes before they have to leave for school or preschool or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like those feel Sisyphean in
I
scope.
see. I get
when
it.
you're in the thing.
I get it. I get it.
And so is there meaning, like in the shop, like
Yeah.
I go into the shop every day, and the first thing I do is I put my keys in the same spot. I put my bag in the same spot. I walk over to my bench. I pull out my computer. Like maybe I sharpen up some tools. Maybe it's trying to make sure that I'm not getting distracted by my phone because I have X to do. But it's like this same cyclical loop of, even if it's a little different, it's kind of still the same. It's still the same story,
Yes. Oh,
even if it's a different chapter.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So is there meaning to be found in the repetitive cycle of the thing itself, of the daily task of life?
I will say I have 2. That's such a great, dude. That was awesome. Very well done. The way you described that, I felt trapped. I was like, oh God, not again. Right. 2 things. Some people love the routine. Love it. Love it. They relish the routine. My wife is one of those people. She loves it's the same thing every day. She eats the same thing for lunch every day.
Does she really?
Yes. Yogurt with berries and granola every fucking day. I'm like, don't you want to try something different? She's like, no.
No,
And she has the same dinner most nights.
Really?
She puts on pajamas at the same time, takes a bath at the same time, watches the same shows, the same types of shows, always murder. Murder mystery is on my television.
And then she wonders why she's anxious.
Exactly. Thank you. Victoria, please listen to this episode because Eric's dropping some truth bombs. It scrolls her phone, the same websites, the same fashion, but she loves it. You know, the dog, she loves the routine. It's where she feels most balanced. Yeah. And I think that's because she has some underlying anxiety, and having that routine quells the thoughts, the anxiety because it's a known quantity. Yeah. There's no uncertainty, right? So there's that. And then there's me where like, I'm okay with repetition and routine, but I don't really like it. Yeah. So I'm always trying to reinvent myself. I'm insatiable looking for new viewpoints, ways to think about my life. So every day I go in the shop, I try to do something different. I never make the same thing twice. Yeah. I try to break up the monotony. I listen to different music every day. I try to break up the operations I'm doing.
Do you listen to different music every day?
All the time. I'm constantly switching and searching for new.
That's so fascinating to me. I'm such a, like, I have whatever, you know, we'll call it 100 albums, right? That I typically, like, when I'm in the shop, I can't have new stimuli in my ears because that distracts me from what I'm doing. And so it's the same ones.
No, I'm looking for new music every day. And I hit on a new album yesterday, and I had chills running down my arms. I had goosebumps.
When you do hit on a new one, man,
head to toe, because it was new and it was phenomenal. And I was like, wow, what is this? And I couldn't even woodwork. I had to stop. I had just stop and fucking dance around a little bit. And it was so awesome. And it's like, I want that. I'm chasing the dragon, Eric. Yeah. And for me, the dragon comes with novelty, like new ideas, learning new things, new. So
do you think for you then it's possible to find meaning in the repetition?
Yeah, it's really tough. I struggle with it. And the way I found meaning in the repetition is to look at it differently. Don't think about it being a repetitious task, but zoom out and have appreciation and gratitude that I'm alive today and I get to see this day and mill this wood and do this thing I've done 1,000 times before, drink the same coffee I've drank 1,000
Mm-hmm.
times, but do it in a way that's full of appreciation and gratitude because this ride is coming to an end soon, sooner than I want it to.
And that is the crux. That's the difference, right? Between our experience and the immortal Sisyphus is we know the end date. And I am a firm believer in you can withstand almost any torture if you know the end date. If you know that it is coming.
Eric, that was a good one. Oh my God. That's so good.
It's a hard one.
A plus. I love that one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, what do you got? Next one up.
Well, I almost wonder if it's related now. Okay. It's a series of statements. And I think it does relate back to woodworking. These are just my thoughts. A major source of stress and anxiety for all of us is when we try to control this chaotic world. Okay? Type A. Right? Whereas if we let go and welcome the uncertainty that this world has to bring us into our lives, we'll not only be more comfortable, but we'll be far happier.
So it sounds to me, or at least what I'm hearing is the embrace of the unknown, the letting go of the control of trying to know.
Yes.
Ultimately causes more happiness.
Yes.
Because the other way around is pure unadulterated anxiety.
Yes. I think we can both agree that this world is chaotic as fuck.
Yeah.
And like people like to say, the only thing that doesn't change is change. Sorry.
The only constant is change.
Yes, the only thank you. The only constant is change, right?
Yeah.
And that speaks to the uncertainty and the chaos and the randomness that comes with life. And I know people who try to control every variable and they're miserable. They're full of anxiety because if every little thing isn't perfectly the way they thought it should be or were hoping it would be, let's say, then they get upset. So let's say you plan a vacation, let's say, right? And you put such an itinerary, like such a stiff itinerary that we're going to be here at this time. We're going to be there at that time. We're going to do this thing. We're going to do that thing. We're going to eat here. Then we're going to do this. And then if one of the things fucks up, let's say something's late or the place is closed or someone like twists their ankle or has like food poisoning, then everything else is like seems like a disappointment. I had all this planned. Oh God, we couldn't do this. We couldn't do this because it's all about expectation not being fulfilled. You put sky high expectations, meaning control. We're going to do A, B, C, D, E. That's all control, expectation, right? And then if it doesn't live up to it, now what's the chance it's going to not only live up to it, but exceed it? The more expectations you put, the harder it is to be happy. And if you travel, let's say you go on this trip and you have no expectation other than where you're going to sleep at night. I know where I'm sleeping and I know what city I'm going to be in, right? And you just say, I'm going to open myself to the universe. And you just go and you find yourself at this delightful little cafe on the streets of France. And then you see a mountain in the distance and you say to your wife, which we just did, and I say, hey, you want to go there? I don't know where that is. I don't know what mountain that is, but I bet we could figure it out and go there. And we did. We found a gondola because we saw a gondola shining in the light. And I go, you want to go there? That looks really cool. And she's like, yeah, let's go. And we just found a way there. We learned its name. We found a gondola and we went there. And it was like so amazing. And you're so thankful. You're bursting with joy because like you didn't know this was waiting for you. What a joyful moment. And so coming in with no expectations was like just joy after joy after joy after surprise, and so there's something about trying to control life versus opening yourself up to the universe.
that I agree with you wholeheartedly on that particular aspect of life. We're very similar in that regard. I will say, I know that way, I know from firsthand experience that way of navigating specifically European vacations can cause other people a lot of stress as well. Even if the reason that I don't like to plan and we don't like to plan too many things is because that then like that quite literally frees our time and opens us up to new experiences that we didn't see coming. And that's
Right.
where the joy of the thing is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly
Now, Eric,
that letting go of those expectations creates opportunity for joy, that like unexpected joy.
now is there a I think there's a parallel in woodworking. The
Hit me.
parallel is people use wood and they expect it to
Mm,
behave.
mm.
They expect it to act like steel, concrete, something that it won't misbehave. I can control every bit of it. I can make it straight. I can make it square. I can make it do this. I control, control, control. But what people forget is that wood is fucking plant cells.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Literally plant cells. When do you work with cells as your medium? Are you taking like muscle fiber and fucking fashioning shit out of like dead muscle fiber or bones? Like, well, bones are rigid. I shouldn't use that, but yeah, they. But I
Also,
mean,
there's some psychopath who is making art out of both of those things.
there is, but
bones,
like,
bones and
but
muscle.
I think we forget that wood is plant cells and stop trying to control it so much and go with the fucking flow. Like, if
Well,
it's not straight, I know it can be a problem because we engineer things to be a certain way, but I try to go with the flow. If there's a knot, I leave the fucking knot.
I think travel is a really interesting parallel to woodworking in this particular instance because most of us don't do it enough to become really like seasoned pros at it. And the
Mm,
people who like invariably that I know who travel the most are the people who plan the least because they know that shit's going to get fucked up anyway. So they're
yeah,
like, I'm just going to Strasbourg and I'm going to see what the fuck is there.
right.
Right. And I think similarly in woodworking, the more experienced you become, the more you realize that the planning, it's not futile. Like there has to be a
It has to be
framework in
a
which you're
framework,
doing
right, right,
something,
right.
but then everything else kind of goes out the window. And like the example that I want to give is a couple of months ago, 6 months ago, whatever it was, when Larissa and I made our first video for the new channel. We made a table in a day in 12 hours. And I made a little nightstand. I use it every day. It's next to my bed. And the top is this crotch of flame big leaf maple. Lovely, beautiful figured wood.
Hmm.
And I looked at it literally like 3 or 4 days ago, and it's cracked. The glue
Hmm.
seam is cracked.
Hmm.
And it doesn't, here's the thing, it doesn't make any fucking sense as to why it's cracked. Because it's cracked on the glue seam, on the book match,
Hmm.
but it's also split at the most humid time of year. So those two
Yeah,
pieces should not be contracting. And I
right.
hadn't had the air conditioner on for a couple of weeks at that point because it's been so beautiful out for the last few weeks.
Hmm.
So there's zero logical reason why
Okay.
this should have shrank and split. And if I was 15 years earlier in my career and lacked experience, I know for a fact that I would have beat the shit out of myself thinking that I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
But you have enough experience over time and things just happen and you see these things happen again and again where you go
Hmm.
like I did everything right. So I don't know who, I have no idea why it fucking split. And you know, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's like, that's just wood. It's plant cells.
There's a hidden variable there that you're
Yeah.
unaware of.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think travel is a really good parallel actually for that letting go of control, and the more experience you have doing the thing, the more comfortable you become letting go of that control.
That reminds me, and not to beat a dead horse here, but that's why we use relative dimensioning. Like we start with an idea and we build off that idea piece by piece. Whereas some of my engineering friends, they come with a complete cut list
Yep.
to the 64th of an inch, a
Yep.
complete cut list, and
Yep.
then they cut it all and they wonder why it didn't go together.
Yep. Do you know how many times in a cabinet shop I saw young people, and I did the same thing when I was young. You do exactly that. Like you're building the thing and you're building off the plan.
Yeah.
And then at some point you cut a piece and you go to fix it and you go to fit it to the piece and you're
It
like,
doesn't fit.
it doesn't fit. What the fuck? And then
Yep.
your boss comes out and laughs at you because you're a fucking idiot. And then you have to
Right.
swallow your pride and figure it out. And you
Well, to
always
me,
build to the thing.
that reeks of control. I think
Yeah.
I'm controlling every size, every variable. Control, control, control. It should be like this. I'm an engineer, and you can
Yep.
do that with steel, like super fine steel and things that don't misbehave as much as wood. But like you said, wood's plant cells, so fuck off. All right.
All right. All right. Was that 9 or was
That was
that
that was my
7?
fourth. So
Okay, so that was 7. So this is my 4th.
8. Yeah, 8.
All right. This is one I think about often. Nothing to do with woodworking,
Okay.
but maybe in the tradition of the craft.
Yep.
This is I believe it's an old Greek proverb that a society grows great when old men or old people plant trees whose shade they know they will never sit in.
Oh, I love that.
Mm.
Oh,
I
I
think about
love
this so
that.
often. And not to be
Oh,
like,
Eric.
I don't know that
That's
I
so
want to get too
great.
high on the self-righteous horse, but I
Mm-hmm.
do think this is the thing that we lack currently in our society.
Yeah.
Of this
Everyone's me,
that
me, me.
and everybody is now, and there's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
investment in society as a whole, and there's no
No.
investment in the future. And we
Wow.
are completely unwilling to sacrifice resources and work and time now for the betterment of future generations.
Oh my God, Eric. So inspiring. That's so good. I love every bit of that because I've been thinking about that lately.
Yeah? How
Yeah.
so?
I watched a documentary recently on a plane ride where I forget the name. A guy who started a carpet company or the biggest carpet company in the world
Mm,
was asked, "Hey, we're doing a seminar and we want you to say a few words about sustainability. Can you do that?" And he's
mm.
like, what's your plan for sustainability? And he's like, what? And this is back in the 80s or 90s before
Yeah.
like sustainability was a thing. And so he went home and he started thinking about what he's going to say. And the people who, his people, this was his own company. The people who were going to ask him to say some stuff about their sustainability plan thought he was just going to mail it in and just say,
Yeah.
we're thinking about sustainability. It's just some
Yeah.
bullshit. And he was the kind of person who went home and asked himself, what are we going to do about sustainability? And he
Mm,
kind of got fucked up from that question. And
yeah.
he came in the next day. He had like a reckoning moment from that. And instead of coming up in front of that crowd of his company and saying, "Oh, we're some BS," he laid down the gauntlet for both himself and the future generations and his company
Hmm.
and said, "We are going to reinvent who we are as a company. We are going to lead by example, and we are going to be sustainable in terms of less reliance on plastic and petroleum products, less reliance on energy consumption." And we are, he had a whole checklist of things.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who asked him to get up and say these things were like, say what now? Are you trying to bankrupt they were like,
fuck, man?
shut the fuck up, but
Uh-huh.
go home, right?
Uh-huh.
And like it jarring
Yeah.
response, and it completely changed the whole company. And the whole documentary was about how he became uh, so obsessed with caring more about the environment and making his company successful while doing it. He said these two ideas shouldn't be mutually exclusive. We should
Mm.
be able to be sustainable and be leaders through it. And he started inspiring other companies. Their profits, like as they started to make these changes, their profits were going up because customers heard about the
Mm-hmm.
sustainability and wanted to buy them more. So then they
Sure.
became a market leader, and all these other companies are looking around being like, oh, maybe we should be more sustainable because then we can compete. And like I was in tears. Like Vicky will
Mm.
tell you, I was on the plane and I was literally crying in my
Yeah.
seat to
Yeah.
see someone who had no reason to do it, but he cared. He made reference to his children and his grandchildren,
Yeah.
and he's like, what kind of CEO and leader am I when I don't care about the next generation? And I was
Yeah.
so moved in my seat on this plane. I was crying. And I kind of came back from the trip, and I was like, I have to do more. I have the resources. I have the time. I started reaching out to tree planting, and I don't even like, I started researching that. Is that a good way to spend money? I reached out to Trent, trying to talk with him. I reached out to people who plant trees as a living. I talked to 2 or 3 of them asking, is that a good way to spend money? Like, I want to give money towards something with trees and oxygen and plants. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know what's best. So I'm kind of in limbo right now. I haven't figured it out, but I'm
Yeah.
so moved by that exact sentiment.
But that motivation to do a thing that you know won't pay off for you is exactly like that's the whole game, right? Like that's the thing that so many, like, this is not even a larger conversation that we're having as a society at the moment. This is the thing that I think about often is it's there are individual actors, but a majority of those actors, at least the loud ones, the ones that you see on whatever social media or what have you, they just get on the bully pulpit. You know, they use the platform to argue with people about why they're right instead of doing the thing that matters in small ways. That's the thing that I think there's no quiet. I don't like righteousness is not the right word. You know what I'm trying to say? There's no quiet altruism. It always has to be magnified so that everybody knows that whatever it is, you're a vegan, you're zero waste, you're
Well, Eric,
using
maybe
compost toilets, whatever the fuck it is.
Well, maybe it is happening, and because it was quiet, you didn't hear about it.
I hope it is, and I have to imagine that it is happening. But it's this is where my pessimism is coming through. Of like, how do you prove a negative? You know,
Yeah,
like,
that's a problem.
Yeah,
Because if they were doing it quietly, you wouldn't know about it.
Yeah. And then we have conversations like this, and it's hard as 2 people who exist on the internet. And I'm not saying that I'm like secretly fucking Robin Hood out here, but like if there is a thing that I'm doing that I think is beneficial for society, then I'm in the weird position of like, do I tell people about it and inspire them, or do I just shut the fuck up and do the thing?
Well, I like to tell people because you and I have a unique platform with which to reach a lot of ears. And if you can get people excited about doing something good for the planet, that's awesome. Like, join me. Like, it's not about me. It's not like, oh, look what a good person I am. It's really like, hey, maybe we could do this together and like feel good together.
I think it's not about you because you don't have any money riding on it. Right? Like the moment what is it that what's the
you mean with social media?
Yeah. Specifically with social media.
I don't.
Right?
Yeah, you're
and,
right.
And who is it? Was it Rockefeller who said the thing of like the hardest thing in the world to do is to convince a man of a truth when his paycheck depends on his ignorance of that truth, or something like that. Okay. You know what I mean? Like,
I see.
I don't know, man. It's a multifaceted issue. But anyway.
Two more thoughts about that. First of all, the documentary, which I hope people watch, is called Beyond Zero. Okay. And the really hard part is he got all this going for his whole life, like 20 years, and died before he saw the end product. But they made it.
Yeah.
And the journey is stunning. Like, I was so inspired. Beyond Zero, watch it.
Right.
It'll change
Check it out.
And the other thing is that I think this comes on as you get older, Eric. I wasn't thinking about this when I was younger, but every decade, as I get older and more of my ducks are in a row, personally, I feel like I should be doing more. And so I feel like there's a developmental curve to this.
I agree. And I think that's probably why the adage is about, or the proverb is about old people specifically, right? Like, you see the end is coming, and what can you do to set the next generation up for success?
Right.
And we are in a moment where, I mean, we don't have to talk about politics, but the overwhelming majority of people who are still leading our country are fucking octogenarians, septuagenarians. It's like, can you just get the fuck out of the way? Like, can you just go sit in the fucking garden? Like, you did your thing. and we appreciate it. Now get the fuck out of the way.
I'm not commenting on anything political on this fucking podcast. Okay.
I mean all of them. Just get the fuck out of the way.
Okay.
Anyway.
Number 9. Eric. The more serious we take ourselves, the more unhappy we'll be.
Ooh. The more serious we take ourselves, the more unhappy we'll be. Is this a life statement or a woodworking statement? Or yes?
Yes.
Yeah, because I agree with him. I agree with it. It is true, because the more serious we take ourselves, the more seriously we want to be taken by other people. And it's impossible to demand respect from other people. Respect is earned. It's not demanded.
And when you say be taken more seriously, what does that really mean? Like
that people
break that
look
down.
upon you with admiration and respect, even if it's grudging respect.
So
people take your work and your life seriously as though you've not been a fucktard for 40 years.
So it's almost like a reputation thing. Like I'm fostering some sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
I'm perpetuating some self-image about me, right? That I'm serious or I'm this. And suddenly we feel like we can't screw up. Or we can't fail, or we can't reinvent who we are, or we can't take risks because we might lose. Oh, someone's going to think I'm this, or and so we stop taking risks and we stop learning and trying new things, whether it's design or learning new techniques, and like the curiosity, because we're so scared. We don't want to lose, that.
We're scared to fail, but we also know what works. So how much of that is also loss aversion? Right? Like we know if we do X, Y is the result. And Y is often whatever, money, clout, respect, admiration. And we like Y. That's why we do X. You don't do X for X's sake most of the time. You do X because Y.
It seems like a lot of social media stars get an inflated sense of self. Right? They have this adoring public constantly puffing their tires up, being like, "Oh, you're so great. You're so great." And then you don't want to ever fail.
I don't think it's just social media stars.
No, it's not.
I think
it's everywhere.
No. But I think even people who post on social media without a following, I think there is something in the act of assuming that what you're doing is important enough for public consumption that alters the way that you see yourself, even if it's not being consumed by the public.
Yes.
So I think that gets exacerbated by people with large followings.
Yes.
But I think just the very act of saying what I'm doing is important enough that other people see it makes you like that alters how you view yourself in your daily work.
Yeah. Do you think you take yourself too seriously?
I think I rarely take myself seriously, maybe to a fault. I think there are times where my work is more serious than other times. But I think my default mode is to, I don't want to say be silly or flippant about it. But I'm very aware of my ego. We'll put it that way. And I don't want it to grow out of proportion. And I get accused of that all the time, but
do you? Seriously?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Why?
I think it's the way that I present myself I recognize that it can come across as flippant into some people that reads as massive ego. Like I'm too good to care.
Cocky.
Yes. Oh, I've been called cocky all my life. And I think it is maybe it's just the cadence, there's something about the way that I present myself and I haven't quite figured out what it is that it can read cocky.
There's a fine line between cocky and confidence. What do you think that line is?
Like in the way that I'm perceived or in the way that I navigate the world?
Well, you meet some people and you're like, they're cocky or they're arrogant. And you meet other people with similar traits, but you're
Yeah.
like, wow, that person's really confident. And I'm trying to like, what's the dividing line between
I
arrogance and cockiness versus confidence?
I ask myself this question often because I do like it does. That's one of the few things that actually does get under my skin is when people like call me cocky.
Mhm.
Um, and I think for me, the easiest way to avoid shifting from confident to cocky is to avoid self promotion. Like there's this thing
Mm.
of like I can tell
Mm.
you what I do, and what I have found time and time again is I can say I'm a woodworker and not tell you that I have won awards, been published in galleries, sold in galleries across the country, have a social media following, et cetera, et cetera. If you discover those things on your own,
Mm.
and I intentionally didn't tell you, that
Mhm.
reads very different than if I am in a group of people and I'm like, well, I'm a woodworker. And also I just had an article get published in Fine Woodworking. Like it's
Mm.
the qualification of my ability that I think then that gets perceived as cocky rather than confident.
Mm.
But I don't know. That's just the only way I know how to navigate it. And yet, even still,
Mm.
people on the internet all the time tell me I'm a cocky son of a bitch. And you know what? Maybe they're right. Like maybe it's the fucking if there's enough people out there saying it, maybe there's some truth to it. I have no fucking idea, you know?
Well, I have struggled. You know, I think when I was younger, I thought I was hot shit when I was younger.
Mm,
I was quite arrogant, I think, in my early 20s. And like eventually life beats you down and shows you you're not anything special. Um, you don't know what you think you know. You're not
mm,
as good as you think you are. And when that happens enough times, like life just kind of beats that into you. Um, you don't feel that way anymore. And in fact, the older I get, the more I feel like a complete idiot about just
mm.
about everything. And you say, yeah, but you're supposed to be the domain expert. You've been doing this for 20 or 30 years, like whether it's science or woodworking. And the more I do it, the less I feel like a domain expert, even though on paper I should be. But I've seen so much go wrong or so much go against my intuition that I'm like, look, I can tell you what I know, but there's no promises here.
But that's the
Right?
thing, right? Like that's the difference between confident and cocky,
Hmm.
in my opinion, is like if I ask you a question, if
Hmm.
I, a student, say, how do I X or what will happen if I Y, and you say, well, this is how you do it, and this is what will happen. I go like, okay, this man knows what he's talking about, but
Hmm.
there is an arrogance of like I know and you don't in that.
Hmm.
Whereas if you say the thing of here's what I know, here's what I've seen happen, and
Yeah.
here's what I'm reasonably confident will happen
Yeah, but
if
there's no
X, but
guarantees.
there's no guarantee. That like that simple act of acknowledging that you can't predict the future with 100% confidence,
Mhm.
like that shifts the tone of the conversation.
You know, I think a background in science was helpful for that because one of the things that sort of you learn in science is to be able to say I don't know. That's one of the most
Mm,
important things to be able to say as a scientist because the minute you start bullshitting and saying, you know, giving an answer because you feel like you should have the answers and you
yeah,
start BSing and
yeah,
the people see through it, you lose all credibility.
yeah,
But if you say I don't know, we don't know, and that's the exciting part. Let's figure it out together. That is uniting. That is all the confidence, right? So that lesson I think I learned from science, and you know that has kind of crossed forward into woodworking. You know, people are like, "How do you, you know, how can you not feel like you know what you're doing?" And I'm like, "Well, it worked this time. We'll see what happens next time." There's always room for. Um, there was just one other phrase, Eric, in regards to this that popped in my head before we go to number 10. Jacob Collier, he's like this brilliant musician. He's kind of like a
mm,
savant. You know, he's all quirky and amazing and genius level
mm-hmm.
musician. And he doesn't think about it like that. He just has fun, right? And he gave it. I was watching an interview once or a social media on him, and he was saying, you know, I think it's really important. Instead of being cool, be warm because that's what people really
Mm.
want. And I didn't know if he meant cool like I'm trying to be like hip and
Oh,
cool,
yeah.
or if you meant cool like
cold.
kind of cold and standoffish, but it works regardless.
Yeah,
Whichever cool it
yeah.
is, don't be cool, be warm.
But
And I love that.
being warm, I mean, I agree.
Be the kind of person that someone wants to talk to, where you make them feel like they're part of the conversation, not I'm the expert looking down from the pulpit on you. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
build them up, make them feel part of the group.
I am strongly of the opinion that every person has an interesting story to tell if you just shut the fuck up and listen for a
Oh,
minute.
100%.
Yeah. Now, the caveat to that is being warm takes vulnerability.
Yes.
Because you have to put yourself and your ego aside, and you have to understand that whatever is happening right now is about them and not you. And you also have to be warm enough to be inviting, which requires often that you show the first vulnerable hand. Like you show your cards before you invite them to show theirs.
Yes.
And that's a hard thing to do. And I think that is why people often prefer to be cool, because you can be a story and you don't have to be a fucking human being with another human being.
I couldn't have said it better. Yes to all of it.
Oh, all right. Close it out.
Yep. Let's go. Right. Number 10.
Number 10. This one is a quote from Soren Kierkegaard. And this is, I've been sitting with this for a while, but it's more poignant lately. It's the most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly the one you'll never have.
Oh God. Oh God.
Whoo! That one's a mind fuck.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
That here we are again on expectation.
Uh-huh.
Expectation being the source of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Unmet expectation.
Unmet expectation. And the expectation, like you had all of the plans in place, right? And this could be about life. This could also be about woodworking and design and like the anxiety that comes around. Yeah. But it's that thing when it goes wrong, in that regret that, and I think we've all been there, that it's so difficult to shake and move past. And you just like, it just sits there and lingers because you can't think about where that road would have gone.
Oh, can you read it again?
Yeah. The most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly the one you'll never have.
Oh my God.
I know, it's so heartbreaking. Oh. But it's one of those things that just like, I keep like basically like a running list of kind of isms or proverbs from a lot of these writers in my phone. And that's one that like every time I see it, I just stop. And you just have to sit with it for a minute.
Golly. Is there a lesson in there about how much we daydream about the future? Is that a risk? Is there risk associated with that?
About the daydream?
I don't know. Like, no, about it. To me, my initial thought was like, well, that's why you should focus on the present and not live for the future. The future is nothing but some skeletal blueprint idea, chemical signatures in your brain of what you think might happen or you hope might happen. Whereas really all that we have is the present. The past is also chemical signatures stored away of what occurred in your brain. So it's like you know, the past doesn't exist but in chemical signatures, and when you die the past dies unless it's written down, and the future is just another series of chemicals, like a blueprint, a daydream. But the present, like when we're in the past or we're in the future, we're missing the only thing that really exists, which is the present.
I agree.
Is there something in there about that statement you read that's so heart-wrenching about living too much for the future?
I see. Interestingly, I read it less about living too much for the future and more about living. It's not living for the past. It's like, okay, so to your point, there's all of the chemical signatures of the past. There's all of the potential of the future, and then the only thing that we actually have is what's happening right now, the present, the now. Correct? But I think you would also agree that the now has a momentum, and it might have multiple momentums. Like things are in motion, right? Your daughter's starting her senior year of school. We know that on the other end of this, college is going to happen, presumably for her. So like that's in motion.
Yes, I see what you mean.
Things with Vicky are in motion.
There's
you just got back from a vacation, right? These trajectories,
totally. Yeah,
and the difficulty is sometimes in life something happens. Like let's say you are running a woodworking business and you bid on a job and you like, if I get this job, this could be massive because it unlocks this door and then this money comes in and I can invest in this and I can build that other thing up. And then something happens and that potential gets wrenched away. And the hard thing is to not hyperfixate on the future that almost happened. Right. So you are focusing on the future, but you're focusing on the future that was a potential of the past. And that's the heart-wrenching thing about it to me, is this thing of like, once that door is closed, once you've moved on from that path, it's so hard sometimes, depending on the situation, to accept that path is now closed. And some people spend a lifetime not being able to accept that, right? You talk about people who go through immense heartbreak, or whatever, like a spouse dies or something, and they, for 40 years, they're just like, I'm never going to love again, never going to love the way that I loved them. And so you can't move past that potential future, even though that potential future will never come to fruition.
I understand completely. What have you learned is not the solution, but a solution? Like, I know there's many, probably it depends on the person, but like what thoughts have helped you deal with this statement?
I know that I am a storyteller, right? To people, to myself. This is the thing. Full disclosure, maybe overexposure. I talk about this with my therapist all the time. She's like, you're telling stories again. I'm like, I fucking know, Dawn. That's what I do. This is why I'm here.
Stories about who you are? Like, are you inventing realities or what?
Stories about like all of the things. Like I am very much a person who wants to understand why things happened.
Okay.
And the only thing that I know for sure is why I chose to do a thing, right? That's the only thing I can suss out. So when it comes to anybody else's actions, I will formulate these stories.
I see.
As to like why I think what led them to make X decision.
Hypotheticals.
Almost. Hypotheticals, right?
Okay.
And so the thing that I have found helps me in this situation is to have somebody, or in a better state of mind, be able to identify for myself that I'm telling stories again. And once I recognize it as a story, I can recognize it as that potential future that it is not helpful to hyperfixate on.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Calling out the fact that I see. So,
yeah, it's like when you're a kid and you're terrified of a ghost story, and the way to like calm, like your parents calmed you down, is to tell you that ghosts aren't real. Like the understanding that it is a fairy tale, it's not reality, is helpful.
But it felt like reality in your brain.
Oh, of course it feels like reality, dog.
Yeah. Does having more going on in the present, more stimulation in the present, kind of knock you out of daydreaming about the supposed future you missed out on or will miss out on?
I think joy in the present can do that, for sure.
I've noticed that when I'm occupied in the present, I don't think about the past. I don't think about the future. I think about what's under my nose.
For me specifically, I think it's joyful experience. And I'm not saying like seek adrenaline, enjoy constantly. Like if you're sad, like it's okay to be sad.
No, I don't think.
But there are moments of like for example, last night I went to the Oasis concert with my sister.
Yeah.
You know? And
That's awesome.
my sister, that was her favorite brand growing up. I have
That's so
never
cool.
seen my sister. She's 40 years old. She turned 40 in August.
Aw.
She turned into 14-year-old Christina.
That's so
like
awesome.
She was screaming. She was losing her fucking mind.
I love that.
And we
for
were
you.
just there. It was like a 2+ hour show. Great show, by the way. They sounded great. They were tight. And the whole fucking time we were just jamming so fucking hard. Like it was such a uniquely joyful experience because of that.
Yes.
That like there's no other place to be but there in that moment.
Right.
You know?
Yes. That's why I like being with my friends.
Yeah.
You know, like having friends over. Like you know, Justin and Morgan just came over 2 nights ago, and it's such a joyful moment, drinking and eating together and telling stories. And oh boy, Justin has some stories that are not okay for public. Right, Justin? I got you, boo. The last thing I think of is anything bad going on or worries in the future or things in the past. I'm just so lit up in the moment. Although some people say that's an extrovert trait. I don't know. Maybe introverts see it a little differently, but
that's interesting. Maybe, but I think even introverts finding those moments of joy with the people that they are comfortable with, that they do love, they do feel safe around. Like it still is that same human connection.
Group. That's true. It's just a
quieter thing, but it's the same experience.
That's true. That's true. I totally get that. Well, Eric.
Well, buddy.
We did it again.
Did you forget for a minute?
I did. When you I did a little bit. We did it.
What are we doing for the after show? I got one more in the hopper if you want to dive in, or we can also talk about the recent trips that we've been
let's
having.
do both of those in the after show.
Okay.
To get the after show, all you have to do is sign up for our Patreon. It's as simple as that. You'll get video feeds and you'll get the after show. You can find
and you'll support our show.
And support our show. And you'll find the link to our Patreon below the notes. Also, leave us comments. We don't say that very often, but we read all of them, both on Patreon and on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. So, you know, or even YouTube podcast. We scan all the comments. I guess I've never said that. And also, Eric, we gave an offer previously to critique someone's work. Mm-hmm. Someone reached out to me. Yep. Eric. His name's Eric. Eric Brockovich.
Oh, sure.
Rooted in the past woodworking.
Yeah.
He reached out and sent me pictures of a piece he would like us to react to.
Okay.
Like a critique.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, we're going to do that. So,
is Eric's a patron? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we do that in the after show too? So that way everybody has the video feed and we can see the piece?
If I can figure out how to do it. Yes, we should. We should do that in the after show.
Love that. Let's make it happen.
Well, everyone, it was another Barstool Confessions with me and my boy.
10 truths, baby.
They always cut deep. Always cut deep. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you, you go through these 10 things and reflect on your own life. That's why, I enjoy this because I'll be thinking about some of the things Eric said for sure.
Yeah.
Mine I've already thought through many times. So Eric, thanks for bringing those. Those were great.
This was a good layout. I like this kind of. It was. I'd say rapid fire. It was still a 90 fucking minute episode, but like the constant renewal and kind of different thoughts that we could contend with and sit back and forth with. I think that was a fun layout. I like that. Let's do it again in the future.
All right, brother. All right, everyone.
All right, friends.
We'll see you in the next show. Bye.